And welcome everybody to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with the big fella, Milwaukee Bucks center and legend Paul Mokeski, coming to you on a Monday evening. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Uh, we're so excited, Mo, to be with the good folks at Sports Fluent, where you can get this show and all our other shows. Uh, all over the Sport Fluent uh, platforms. So the good people at Sports Fluence they are helping us introduce our show to thousands of new viewers all over the place, Mo. So we're really excited about this partnership.
Yep, time to grow, baby. Sports Influence going to help us grow and get more viewers and more topics, and we're excited about it.
And of course, for everybody out there, we'll always welcome your questions and comments. And Mo, I bet a lot of people got a lot of comments and thoughts about what went on last night in Indianapolis at the NBA All-Star game. And Mo, as a former player, 12 years in the NBA, you are an NBA lifer when you consider your NBA playing experience and coaching experience. How proud of you were of the game that you have dedicated your life to after last night?
Well, I think I have 26 years in affiliated with the NBA, either as a player, a coach in the G League, or a coach in the NBA. So I am part of the NBA family for sure. And maybe I'm the crazy uncle above the garage saying, "Get off my lawn." But it wasn't. I tried to watch it, and I don't want to say embarrassed, but I'm sad for the way
Yeah.
it's come out. It's just, I remember a couple years ago, or maybe it was I can't remember. I was here in Vegas, and the game on Saturday between the rookies and the newcomers, whatever they call them, and that was like that, and it was an embarrassment. It was just dunks and lobs and layups, and it was embarrassing, and they decided not to have that anymore, to change it up a little bit. And the one thing that I kept watching for one reason. My friend Chris Finch was coaching, but also, I'm telling you though, the skill level that was on stage. I mean, come on, man. Lillard shooting from half court like a jump shot, making making two of them, no problem. And Curry shooting, these guys are so skilled. And Halliburton, who, I scouted him for a couple teams here in Las Vegas a few years back, and my comment was, ugly, weird 3-point shot, but it goes in. And I think he hit like 6 threes, and it's just sad that their talent, I mean, their athleticism. I mean, Giannis caught a lob from about half court and almost hit his head on the rim. And, but that's just overlooked because of the silliness of, no one even attempting to play defense. There were some contested shots here and there, but, how about just stay in front of your guy? How about, just do basic stuff and, have a little pride. And, it was hard to watch. And they're going to have to make some more changes. They've tried to do it. They went back to the East-West. One of the things they might have to do is, like I think baseball does, is, okay, whoever wins the All-Star game, whether it's the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, in the playoffs, in the finals, whoever won the All-Star game gets the home court advantage in the finals. Maybe that'll get some, something going. But, I suggested, the world against the NBA, America, and I mean, come on, Luka and the Joker and Giannis, they're all would be playing for the world team. So it'd be competitive. I think there would be some competition there too, unlike there was here. But, it's really sad to see.
But Mo, there was a time when you would get competition in these games, and you could get some really entertaining all-star games with great players, Larry Bird, Dr. J, Kareem, Magic, who they would coast a little bit, would come fourth quarter, They were going at each other.
Go farther back. Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, John Havlicek, Jerry
That's
West,
right.
Elvis Miller, all those guys. And part of that, I think, Ricky, is the overexposure of the league now. I mean, you can watch a game almost every night. Before back then it was on Sundays. That's all. Then it was on, I think, Tuesdays with TNT, and then it started to expand. But at the same time, people around the country weren't saying, well, this guy's the best and that. Well, this was a chance for, guys like, Bird and, these guys were, okay, I'm going to show you that I'm better. I'm going to show you right now that I'm a better player, and then the young guys that were coming up, MJ and, Isaiah and those guys, well, yeah, we're better. We're going to show you we're better. And that's kind of the competition that was going back and forth. But the money, the exposure, it's all kind of gone out the window. Now, don't get me wrong, man. The All-Star Weekend is supposed to be a celebration competition. Okay, so players are going there. They're using their time that they could have off. A lot of guys prefer not to play. They'd rather have 3 days off and spend it with their family in preparation for the next 30 games. That's a whole college season, by the way. That's coming after the All-Star game. They've already played 50. But I don't expect them to go out and dive on the floor, take charges and all that, but you got to compete and be more competitive. And, but, they are celebrating, and they're celebrating more of their skill level, like half court shots and, all this stuff. It's phenomenal to see and what skill they have. There was a video out before the game that they usually put the ball rack at half court. And before Luka was warming up, then he went to the ball rack at half court, and he took shots from half court in the corner that probably were 50 feet in the air, 50, and he swished both of them. I mean, their skill level is phenomenal. I mean, LeBron coming, still taking to the basket strong at his age, and but the competitive. So they're not. It's kind of a funky situation, and you know. Uh, I'm on the I thought about this today a little bit. Why don't we just go more like the NFL, right? The NFL doesn't they play flag football. They have all these skill stuff during the day and during the all this stuff. They're doing tug of war. They're doing all this stuff. So if we're not happy with this kind of competition, because it's not going to change. I mean, let's face it. These guys make 40, 30, 40, $50 million a year. So how much money do you have to throw at them, to make them, want to play for the cash? It's going to be $1 million. I mean, I looked up the average salary for the 15 of the players in the All-Star game is $38 million a year.
Oh.
Curry makes $52 million. KD, Joker, LeBron, they all make $50 million. PG, Giannis, Lillard, they all make 40. So these guys are making 30, 40 million. So you're going to throw, like, the winner this year got $100,000, a lot to anybody. I mean, please give it to me. The loser got 25. So there's a big discrepancy. They thought that would, but I told you earlier, $100,000 of these guys doesn't even buy them one of their watches. So what's, so
You can't even get a watch with them.
yeah, I mean, so I mean, so what do you? I've heard that a lot. Like I heard that on ESPN today. Well, make it 500 grand, just like the in-season tournament. And they played hard for the in-season tournament. Okay, so the winner, maybe winner take all. That's 500 grand. That's what is that? $10 million. Something. It's whatever it is.
It's well, I still don't think it is enough, Mo.
Yeah, I
To
don't.
your point.
I don't think it's going to change it. So my thought is, why don't we just go with the NFL like they've gone? And it's supposed to be a celebration weekend. They have the Legends Brunch, which is phenomenal. They honored Larry Bird, and all the legends are there. And you got Oscar Robertson and Bill Wall. I mean, Dr. J, and they're having brunch with all these other people in there. It's just, and then you have the Saturday night festivities, and then you have the Sunday, which is usually a letdown, right? So why don't we just make it one big weekend? And I would say let's add a couple things. Number one, for the dunk contest, let's have an open division. So throughout the year for 5 months or whatever, any player, professional player in the world can submit a video of 2 or 3 of their dunks. And then you have a committee, maybe it's Dr. J and a couple other guys, they view the videos and they pick one of those players to come to the All-Star weekend and compete in the dunk contest. I'm telling you, Ricky, I just watched a video on YouTube of a young man that's playing in Italy. I think he's only 18 years old. And they have a video of him. He took off 1 foot behind the free throw line and dunked it, cupped it, and dunked it like that. Like, I mean, so why don't we let that? There's professional dunkers all over the world that compete in dunk contests all over the world, Korea, Italy, France, everywhere. And they make 10 grand or 15 grand or whatever. Let's keep it open and put that competition into this dunk contest. Maybe it'll stir something up. The other thing is, let's add to they have the 3-point contest, which everybody liked, right? And then the competition between Steph and the other young lady, and that was interesting. So let's add to that. Remember back in the day when they used to do the horse competition, Pete Maravich versus Dr. J and horse?
Yeah.
Why don't you put it? Because look, guess what? Guys like Luca and that can shoot half court 30 footers and swish. So let's just do, how about a horse competition, right? Add that to it. Remember
because you're so right about the skill, the overall skill level of these guys is truly phenomenal.
So let's go back to, they used to have one-on-one. Let's play one-on-one. Let's play one-on-one. Luca against the Joker. Let's play one-on-one. And then, in my opinion, I would get rid of the game. And here you go. If you hear somewhere else, Ricky, I started this. Okay.
We need to put a patent on this in the morning, Mo.
I mean, this is what the game should be. It should be 3-on-3 half court. All the players should pick their teams, 3-man teams, 2 games going on at the same time on each end of the court. And you have a round robin tournament, and the championship is between the 2 best teams of 3-on-3. You don't have to run up and down. 3-on-3, you're going to play a little defense. You're going to try. Let's play 3-on-3, a 3-on-3 tournament instead of the game. It'll take just the same amount of time, except it'll be more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing is for sure, and one other thing I think too, Mo, there's so much movement in the league. There really isn't a lot of alliances with conferences anymore. KD's played all over the place. LeBron's played in the East and West. There's so much movement. It's just a lot of stuff. And, I think about the NFL finally did away with the Pro Bowl. You could kind of understand it a bit with the Pro Bowl because football is such a brutal game that those guys, hey, I'm not lighting you up on this because I don't want to hurt you and I don't want to get hurt.
And
so they finally just did away with it.
Well, it's still there. They still play.
I mean, right? They went to another format.
Flag. Yeah, they play flag and they have competition. They tried to do it with nobody rushing or have a count on the quarterback and stuff like that. But it kind of got ridiculous too. But something has to be done because scoring 200 and whatever points. To 180 or whatever. I'm going to tell you what, too. You know who else was mad? Adam Silver. Do you see him?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what. Before the game, Saturday, Larry Bird spoke and mentioned that I hope players play with pride and play hard. The night before, at a banquet, Adam Silver said the same thing. And then when he presented the trophy to Lillard for MVP, he handed it to him. And I said, he goes, well, you scored a lot of points. So here you go.
Yep. And Silver also said, You know what? I think they're going to play hard this time,
Yep, he was
and
wrong.
they did, and they
No,
did. That,
I mean, it's not like they jogged some, but they kind of ran a little bit. But I'm not talking. Just stay in front of your guy. I mean, come on, man, really? Just stay in
yeah,
front of your guy and make him do something. And they've tried everything, right? They try to put charity money involved, right? So there's the
yeah,
Special Olympics for the East and the Boys and Girls Club for. So you're going to win some money for the charity. That didn't happen. Then they played by quarters. Remember that? They played the
yeah.
Elam ending, which I like, by the way. That sets up a score, and that's what you got to get to. Like we all play growing up. We
Right,
didn't have a clock. We played to a score, 11,
right.
13, 21. They did that. And they played 4 quarters. That didn't work. And now they went back to East and West. That didn't work. So unless you're going to do the world against America, I think they would. I'm telling you, the world team would play hard and would make the U.S. team play hard. So
Yeah.
that's my number one fix. You want to fix it? Go the world against USA, and don't be surprised if the world wins. Look at the players they have. They have Gillis Alexander, the point guard from OKC, Giannis, Luca, Joker, all these guys. Embiid, if he played, you're going to have a competition, and there's going to be pride, and they're going to make the other team, the USA team, play. Watch, but other than that, you need to listen to me. Three
Hey,
point.
Mo, how did
Wait,
the
wait. 3-point contest, nice. Dunk contest with open division, nice. Horse competition, nice. One-on-one competition, nice. And then 3-on-3 round robin tournament. There you go. I've just fixed the All-Star weekend.
Thank you, Paul Mokeski.
There you
Hey,
go.
Mo, how did European international basketball grow to where they produce so many good players now? What happened? Was that when the NBA kind of grew and exposed itself, or
Yeah, I mean,
guys like you going over there to teach the game and expose guys to the pro game?
all of the above. I mean, the dream team, the first original dream team,
Yeah,
won the Olympics and killed everybody. So all those kids watching that over around the world, they watched that. And they said, "Hey, I want to do that. Look at that. There's Michael Jordan. There's Magic. I want to be that." And then there was Dream Team 2, and the same thing happened. But all these young kids are coming up saying, "We want to do that." The NBA has also done an awesome, great job of going around the world and having clinics and camps. I did an NBA camp 2 weeks in China with kids in China. We introduced drills and doing this stuff, and I've done them in Korea. They have the African League now. They're everywhere. NBA is everywhere. There's junior leagues in NBA everywhere, and then you add to that the social media.
yeah,
So back when I played, or when I played in France,
yeah.
to watch TV, I had to I had to have people send me tapes so I could
Tapes.
watch.
Yeah,
You know, now hell, you can get box and watch regular TV anywhere in the world alive, just
right.
like he was playing, and you can
Yeah,
tape it also. I mean, that's so now you have all these kids, coaches, also watching, and you have they brought the NBA into the training camp. They had cameras there, and they talked about what they were doing. So all this combined, and quite frankly, Ricky, uh, the the structure of most European and overseas basketball is structured. You have the little kids, you have the junior programs, you have the second division, then you have the pro teams. So they go through their system. They're playing for Barcelona, Spain. So you play as a little kid, then you play in the junior system, and then you play the minor league team, and then you want to play for Barcelona. So you have trainers that train you, and they're doing skill work. You go to a gym like I was coaching with Great Britain, the national team, and we were in the Worlds, and Chris Finch was the head coach. Nick Nurse was an assistant with me, and I remember we were going to play Ukraine, the Ukraine national team, in a big 17,000 seat arena, right? And so we got there really early, and I just kind of walked around the arena, and I heard some balls bouncing. So I walked behind the stands, and they had this little practice gym there, and they had a coach working with about 8 players with chairs out there, learning how to do crossover and spins and pivots, and that's what they were doing. In today's basketball, I'm sorry, people, the United States is falling to the wayside. You have AAU basketball where everybody thinks they're Steph Curry and they're shooting threes and they don't learn how to play. They don't learn about spacing for the most part. Now, there's good AAU programs with good coaches out there, but that's about 10 to 15%. The others are just uh, people that want to, have an AAU team and have their kids play and, do whatever you want. And they're not learning the fundamentals because look at when you talk about the and there was a stat out that Adam Silver just said. I think 30 or 35% of the NBA is not American.
Wow.
It's European or overseas. Think about that. 30
Wow.
35%, and it's growing because and all those guys. What do you think about when you think of the Joker or Luca? I mean, Luca's been playing pro since he was 14 years old with men actually
What,
running plays.
what I think about those guys, let me answer that. Uh, they're all fundamentally sound in everything they do. Left hand, right hand, handle. They're fundamentally sound. And those are skills that take you far in that game.
Look, Wembanyama, Wembanyama. I mean, 7'4", handles like a guard, shoots threes. But you know what else he is, Ricky? He is competitive as hell. Wembanyama is competitive as hell, right? He's got that drive. Giannis is competitive as hell. Guess what? He grew up on the streets in Greece, right?
Right.
So basketball, I just think we've lost our way here. And AAU, the way they, you know what, Ricky? AAU, the great programs in AAU, players move around there more than they move around in college and the NBA. They'll play for the Adidas LA team in Chicago on Friday, and then they'll go play for the Adidas team from New York in Cleveland on Saturday. They just move around, and so they get used to that, and it's hurting us.
Hey, Mo, I got a question. You mentioned Wimbiana and his skill level, and compare his skill level with Ralph Sampson before Ralph got injured up. When Ralph came in and was a healthy young player.
Ralph could do all the things Wembanyama can do. I mean, Wembanyama's longer now, though. He's a little taller, but he's really freaky long. Ralph brought the ball down the floor. Ralph wasn't a great I don't think he could shoot threes, but back then we weren't allowed to shoot threes.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to bring the ball down the floor. We're supposed to outlet it. Now nobody outlets, right? The Joker outlets, but all those guys that rebound, they just push the ball. But we weren't allowed to do that when I played. But Ralph was, he could run. He was athletic. He could jump. He could handle the ball. He'd go between his legs. He could do all that stuff. And if he was allowed to and worked on it, he would be just as good a three-point shooter. I mean,
Yeah.
I work with Sean Bradley in Dallas, and people poo-poo him a lot. And Sean, we hope you're doing well. He was paralyzed on a bike accident years ago. He's in a wheelchair, but he's doing fine. But Sean Bradley's 7'5", 7'6", and he could bring the ball down. He'd go behind his back. He could shoot threes. He's a really good passer. He could do all that stuff, but now it's more accepted, right? So it's still phenomenal, but it's just more accepted.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to some of the new. Hey, besides everybody talking about the All-Star game, there was also news today. Jock Vaughn wishes everybody was still talking about the All-Star game because he was fired today as the coach of the Brooklyn Nets. He's the third coach to be fired this year. Well, Wes Unseld Jr. was pushed upstairs in D.C., and of course, Adrian Griffin. I think he got 30 games in. I think he made it 43 games with Milwaukee. But Mo, Jock took over as interim, and the Nets are 21-33. They're out of the play-in the East so right now with 28 games to go, and the Nets decided, hey, we're gonna just try something different. And this evening they named Kevin Ollie as the interim. Your thoughts on Jock Vaughn?
Well, Jock is a KU Jayhawk, fellow Jayhawk, and great guy, good coach, great coach. But like I've told you before, coaching in the NBA is brutal. I mean, you get fired. You're coach of the year one year, and you're fired the next year. It happens that fast, and a lot of times you're not given the opportunity. And let's face it, Jock took over a program that was reeling, right? They had the Harden fiasco, and Ben Simmons didn't come in, and KD left, and so but it's all, I told you this before. It's always the coach's fault, right? I mean, you look at their roster. I'm looking at their roster. You got Bates Diop, don't know who that is. Mikal Bridges, their best player. Noah Clooney, Cameron Johnson, Dennis Schroeder, Ben Simmons, who doesn't really play much anymore. Dennis Smith Jr., Lonnie Walker, Trendon Walton, Dariq Whitehead, Jalen Wilson. They got guys from the G League playing. So were you expected to compete with the Celtics, with Cleveland, with the Bucks, with Philly? You're supposed to compete
with your crosstown rival, the Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks. You're supposed to compete with that roster, but that's what happens, and coaches are going to pay the price. And now, I told you what the process was, right? Assistant coaches first, head coaches second, general managers third. So their general manager is on the hot seat now. So they're going to be looking at him because of the moves he's made. A lot of times, coaches don't have it's like they don't have a choice on their roster. They have some suggestions, but they're not. Most of them aren't making the final decisions unless you're Popovich or someone like that. So it's like a chef being ordered to bake a great cake, and someone else is getting the ingredients for you, and they're flawed ingredients. You can't make a great cake. So but that's the life of a coach. Been through it. Coaches are hired to be fired. I think having Kevin Ollie, they brought him in. Kevin Ollie, I coach. He was my point guard in the CBA in Hartford. Kevin Ollie from UConn. Had a good run in the NBA. Been a coach before. He was coaching the high school group in Atlanta that was doing the high school pro thing. And they brought him from there. So, and Kevin Ollie, I believe, won a national championship for UConn, right?
Right, he did. Yeah,
he was playing. He was coaching the last coach's players, but he won a
2014.
Yeah, so think about that, right? Kevin Ollie wins a national championship, and then 2 years later they fire him. And then, but it's going to be interesting. But I mean, come on, man. With the roster I just read off, they're not going to be any better. And I heard today, well, some of the players were upset and not feel. Well, then play harder and win some games. Make a shot. Come on, man. I'm not too happy. You think Jock Vaughn was happy having to put you in the game? Looking down the bench, going, "Hey, never mind."
and you know what, Mo? That's the thing with coaches. It's like, dude, if I thought you could help me win a game, you would damn sure be in the game.
No question. You can make shots and make good decisions and play defense and rebound and pass the ball, and you're going to be in the game. I mean, what? I'm going to hold you out so I don't win? I mean, because guess what? I just told you coaching business is brutal. So how do you not get fired? You win. You win. So you're going to play the best players you can win if they're not knuckleheads. Sometimes you're even going to play the knuckleheads.
and Mo, sometimes you can be winning and lose. Adrian Griffin, they were 30-13. At the time, they were the second seed in the East.
Yeah, and So that's expectations, right? So,
Right.
he had a team, right? And then
Right.
because of what Giannis kind of hinted at this summer, they changed that team drastically. They got rid of Holiday and they brought in Dame Lillard, two completely opposite players. So, and that wasn't his call. So he's trying to make things fit with egos and personalities and all that. And, guess what? One of the best coaches around, Doc Rivers, is struggling with that same roster right now,
Yeah.
isn't he? He's like 2 and
Right.
7. So,
They've lost two straight going into the break. They're 3-7 in their last team. I'm sorry, in their last 10. Cleveland has passed them in the standings. Cleveland's up 2.5 games. Cleveland was 6 games behind them earlier in the year. But Cleveland's really been playing well, Paul. They're 9-1 in their last 10. And Milwaukee has just dropped off. The Sixers have dropped off. They're 3-7 in the last 10. But you can understand why they dropped off. They lost their best player.
yeah, MVP. So, they're going to struggle to be in the play-in.
Hey, Mo. If I took Damon Lillard out of that lineup and put Holiday back in that lineup, they're 35-21. How many games different do you think he makes up?
That's hard to say because this type of. But I'll tell you this: if they didn't make that trade, and everything was going along like it was, they're probably 4 or 5 games ahead of what they are right now. If they didn't make that trade, right?
Yeah, I think so. Steve, are you sure about that? I mean, Lillard is.
I'm not sure about that. Look that up, man.
I'm gonna look that up, Steve.
I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, but
But even if it was, I'd be interested to see what that is. But Lillard is shooting probably 3 times more threes, maybe 4 times more threes. But Lillard's been struggling though, Steve. He's been struggling. Only had Dame time a couple times, right? Only Dame time a couple times. So he's been struggling. But, the answer isn't Giannis shoot more threes. Please, God, no.
But you know what, Mo? I think it in today's game when I talk to my son and he talks about players recruiting when they send them tape. They always send tape of them on the offensive end. Of course, he wants to see a whole game. Nobody ever sends tape of making defensive plays
or missing shots.
Right. Oh no, everybody is shooting 1,000% from the field.
No, so, if you're a coach of any knowledge, you want to see what gets you interested is their highlight tape. You can see if they got a good form, they can jump, they can shoot, they can do whatever. Now, okay, I'm interested. Send me a game tape. Send me 2 game tapes. I'm going to watch a whole game, and then we're going to see what kind of player you really are.
Hey, speaking of, Mo, I just got a text from our good friend Matt Calvin, the AVA and NBA legend, member of the AVA's 50 greatest players. He say, "Hi, Ricky. I just returned from the All-Star game back to LA. Man, we got to talk about the All-Star game. What a travesty." I think all the old heads feel the same way about what occurred last night. Not that we got to go back and address that, but that's just a sentiment that's going around about that game.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, Mac is old school like me, and it's about disrespecting the game and playing the right way. And shoot, we'll have Mac on and talk about just that. But Steve, let me get back to you on that. Giannis is shooting 25% from the 3, and Lillard shooting 34. So I don't think we want to go there.
But even 34 is not a good percentage for Dame. I mean, you want to shoot at least 33, right?
Yes. But if you're a good shooter in the NBA, you're shooting 38, 40. I mean,
right. Which he is certainly capable of that. But
Middleton's shooting 37. Portis is shooting 38. Beasley's shooting 44. Jay Crowder's 37. So yeah, Lillard is struggling, but Giannis is not better. That's not happening.
Hey, but let's talk about Cleveland for a second more while we're here, pointing them out. They've played as well as anybody, not named the Boston Celtics in the East. Are they capable of challenging the Celtics if they were to end up in the finals in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, I think let me take
They
a
kind of flamed out. They had a good season last year too, but
yeah. I mean,
but they flamed out in the playoffs, first round.
so the Cavs have a very, very one of the best that's up there with the Celtics and the Bucks and all those starting five, right? You got All-Star Mitchell, you got Garland, who's one of the better two guards. You got Mobley and Josh Allen, and then you have the Strus, who's the three-point shooter from Miami, and then you got Levert, and you got a couple other younger guys that are there. So you're a little deeper and more experienced than you were last year. But like I said before, there's some starting fives that can compete that are equal a lot. But then you get to the bench, and in a 7-game series, you got to have 7, 8 solid guys. And if not in a 7-game series, your stars are going to get run down or in foul trouble or injured. And then you got to have those other guys to be able to step in. And I think in the long run, that would hurt the Cavs against the Celtics, because I think the Celtics are deeper. But I think they're right there. I mean, you never know. I mean, you're looking at Boston, who's the cream of the crop. You got Cavs, you got the Bucks, you got the Knicks now, and then Philly. But Philly without Embiid as a non-starter. So there's your teams.
Hey Mo, OK is checking in from one of our Sports Fluid platforms, and OK, man, we want to welcome you to the show. We're here every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And first he said the All-Star game wasn't a game; it was a shoot around.
It was one of the most talented and worst pickup games ever.
Yeah. Hey, but he says OK says 385 is the standard to be good. That's 5 for 13, rounds up to 1.2 points per shot, and that's what you want for three. You pretty much agree with that, right, Mo?
Well, the analytics of that is 33% from the three is like shooting 50% from the two. That's what the analytics say. And most players, unless you're a big or around the rim a lot, you don't shoot 50% from the two. But I agree with, if you're 38 and above percent, then you're a good 3-point shooter. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Let's
And I would say, I would look back on Lillard. I would wonder what his stats are from Portland. I bet he was 38 to 40% in Portland.
Yeah. You know what, Mo? I'll have that information for us next show. Going to the West, as we, everybody's off. They kick back into it on Wednesday, and Mo, we're heading down the home stretch now, and Minnesota is a team to reckon with. Although we talked about last week, as good as they've played this year, 39-16, currently 7-3, won their last 4. They aren't scaring anybody in the West. Nobody in the West is saying, "Oh man, we're gonna have to play Minnesota."
Yeah, the reason for that, I think, is because Minnesota is a defensive team. They're bigger, they're long, and they play very good defense. And in the NBA today, everyone wants offense. So everybody's they're even scared of the Warriors because they know what the Warriors might be able to do because of the offensive power. But I'm telling you, if you stay solid and true to who you are, Minnesota, and play solid defense the whole way, and you got a guy like Anthony Edwards, and you got a guy named Anthony Towns, who, by the way, scored 50 points last night in the All-Star game, 50 amongst all the other players. then you're going to do some damage in the playoffs for sure. And
Yeah.
and they have an older Conley point guard who knows how to play. He's strong. He doesn't turn the ball over. So they got a good makeup. I struggle with their lack of depth coming off the bench.
Hey, Mo, let's go in on this again with okay. He says 10 for 20 is 50%. You don't want 20 points off of 20 attempts. You want 25 or 30. Yeah, you do, okay, but there aren't very many people that can consistently get you 25 and 30 points off 20 attempts. 50%, you look at the history of the NBA, it's not a lot of guys outside your big men who shoot better than 50%. And more, I think this is going to the point where so many looking at analytics today think a 2-point shot is a bad shot.
Well, first of all, yes, that's why I said 33% from the three is better than 50% from the two. That's why I said that, because it's equal to that. So it's the same. But so that's why when you're shooting threes, you want to be above 33%, which is 38%. Then you're where we were talking about, right? That's where you want to be, right? But you know, analytics is misunderstood by a lot of people. I'm not saying you, but a lot of people, because everybody, especially old school guys, think that players now are they've got a wide open layup and they're throwing it out to a three because threes are more. No, that's not right. That's not what analytics says. So here's what analytics said. I worked for the Houston Rockets for years. They were the first front runners of analytics. Analytics says the best shot you can get in basketball is a layup. Best shot, layup. The second is getting into paint and getting fouled. That's the second best. The third best is a corner three in the NBA because they're almost a foot and a half shorter. The next is any other three. And the fifth shot is an out of paint, out of the key three. Except when the shot clock is down to 5 seconds, any shot you can get up and is good for you is a good shot.
Yeah. And it's not everybody. How many guys, unless it's an all-star game where everybody's putting up, not very many guys get 20 shots a game. I'll take, if everybody on my team shoots 50% from the field, I don't care where they're shooting from, we're going to win some games.
Yeah, and you'll have the best team ever because no team in the history of basketball
exactly
ever done that.
10 for 20. It's not as bad as it sounds. Okay, that is a very high percentage.
And here's like when I coached for 20 whatever years, and I was I paid attention to analytics and corner threes and out of paint twos and taking layups when they're there. So I paid attention to all that, but really one of my most important things was good shots versus bad shots. You want to take 80% good shots to 20% bad shots. And if you can get your players to understand what a good shot is for them and for your system, your coaching system, and take more of those, a lot more of those than they do bad shots you don't want them taken. That's like a guy that can't shoot a three like Rickey shooting threes. You don't want that.
No,
you
don't.
So you don't want that. You don't want Paul Mokeski doing between the leg pull-up jump shots, step backs. You don't want that. You want me to stay to do what I can do. You want Rickey to do what he can do. And
stay out of the way.
Good shots and bad shots. And then if you can do that, you have 80% good shots. So you're doing really good. And then you limit your turnovers. If you can have 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, and get rid of my bad turnovers, my bad, I threw it out of bounds, my bad, I stepped on the out of bounds line. Why did you step on the line? If you can eliminate those, then you got a good chance of winning.
Yeah. And I love the Cotton Fitzsimmons.
What was reference. That? What was that?
He talks about Cotton Fitzsimmons says, take a step inside the 3-point line to get a better shot. And he has 832 wins. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. I love Cotton's Fitzsimmons, but let's see. The Golden State Warriors shoot 8 billion threes and won 3 championships. So
Yeah,
hey, it could go either way as long as you got the right guys taking the right shots. That's all
that's
I
the
say.
thing. Steve, I just saw that, Steve. Mike Conley signed a 2-year extension with Minnesota today. And Mo, when you look at the success Minnesota's had with your old pal coaching those guys, he Conley's like been a more underrated version of Chris Paul because he's an older guy too. But man, he can orchestrate that thing out there for your team and keep everybody organized. And he's probably even more effective than Chris at this stage of his career.
Yeah, Chris has been hurt a lot, right?
Yeah,
Chris probably has more success, but he's been hurt a lot. But when you can, as a coach, if you can get a point guard that's another coach on the floor, knows what you want, knows how to get the players the ball where they want, so they take the shots that you want them to take, not the shots you don't want them to take, and is a leader on the floor, off the floor, a steadying influence. He's not looking to score 30 points. He's looking for the team to win, and he's going to do whatever it takes to win. And he's going to get to the ball to Rudy Gobert on a lob so he can dunk it, and he's going to get it to Anthony Edwards on the run or off a pick and shooting a three, and he's going to get it to Towns in the post some and on the elbow some. That's the guy you want, and they're so valuable. They're like you said, they're underrated, but they're so valuable because they make the whole thing go. You got to
yeah,
have someone that makes the whole thing go. Everybody, like you said, Ricky, everybody can't take 20 shots.
yeah.
So, so everybody can't take 20 shots. Everybody can't handle the ball all the time. Everybody. So, and we've said this before, and, I lasted 12 years in the NBA. I knew my role, but more importantly, I accepted my role. So, people of the teams, well, we don't know our role. We don't, yes, you do. You just don't accept it. And sometimes it's hard to accept, and, if a team can put away all their egos and all that and decide to focus on winning, that's what Phil Jackson did with those great teams, right? In Chicago and with the Lakers. I mean, sure, they had talent. They have MJ and Kobe. Yeah, okay. But he made it that everybody wanted to do what was right to win for the most part. And that's hard to do in the NBA, and that's what great coaches do. And I think, like you said, Steve, Chris is he's one of the most brilliant minds I've ever been around. I've been around Don Nelson and Lenny Wilkins and Del Harris and Matt Calvin. I've been around some great minds, and but he's that guy. But the other thing is he's kind of old school. He doesn't BS guys. I mean, he called those guys out on that game when they wanted Towns to score 60 or whatever. He called them out, and they respected him for it. So, you know, it's
I think they've won 4 straight since that. Since he called them out, Mo. Hey, Mo. Speaking of calling the team out, I want to jump to this because we're getting late in the show. Yesterday, on the college level, legendary coach Rick Pitino of the St. John's, they blew a 19-point lead to Seton Hall, and they were up 19, lost the lead. I know you really don't like big leads, and apparently they don't either.
No, I like
big
big leads, but they go away fast.
It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, this is his comments after the game. I'm hoping this will play all the way through for us.
10-game span for Rick Pitino as a college head coach since 1985-86 when he was in his first year at Providence. Drew?
Let me go back.
Coaching.
There we go.
I mean, Sean.
Going to win after trailing.
I think they're unathletic. I don't think they move well laterally. I don't think they're going to pick it up in the next week. I think they're slow laterally. I mean, Sean Conway gives you everything he can. He's slow laterally. About 5 guys are slow laterally. Even the Celtics, when we lost, I've enjoyed every minute being a Boston Celtic coach. Didn't like the fact that we lost in that following year, but this has been the most unenjoyable experience I've had since I've been coaching.
Do you have any second thoughts of taking this job?
No, not at all. It's not St. John's. It's my team. I think they're very respectful. They hear, but they don't listen. It's taken me a month to get them to throw bounce passes. Actually, 2 months to throw bounce passes. Just thinking of getting ready for Georgetown because Georgetown could definitely beat us. I'm not even thinking of the future at all. I'm just thinking of the next game and the next game and the next game, and that's it. Just try to get as many wins as you possibly can and represent St. John's in the best fashion you can.
And Mo, he went on. He called out some more players. And first of all, just your thoughts about that, Paul.
Well, listen, Rick Pitino is a great coach. We all know that, and he had great programs and won great games, and he's a great coach. However, I can see his frustration. I've been on a podium before, and you're frustrated. I understand, but at the same time, a couple things that stick out. It's not St. John's; it's the team. Coach, the team is St. John's. Hello, the team is St. John's, and guess what? It's your team. It's the team you brought in. So the other thing is to blame players for being slow laterally. Okay, that's a viable, interesting fact. But how about we worked on that lateral movement in practice? And how about if you're slow lateral movement, you change your angle and you do different angles when you stay in front of a guy? And how about your technique? So instead of taking a little skip step, you really push off and get in front of your guy, stay in front of your guy. How about we work in that in practice instead of using it as an excuse why those guys can't play defense? Come on, man. Brook Lopez is one of the slowest guys in the NBA, right? He was Defensive Player of the Year. He's slow. I love the guys I played with. But I'm telling you, Jack Sikma, Hall of Fame. Sidney Moncrief, Hall of Fame. Both very, very good, solid defenders, and both were slow laterally. So come on. I mean, that's kind of mind-boggling to me. If you're trying to, pump up your team or whatever, but I'm sorry, Coach, you can do it in a better way than that. They're just slow laterally, so we can't defend. Sorry. How about the zone? How about play some zone? How about do something, to offset their slow lateralness?
Hey, Paul, do you think he threw him under the bus?
Sure. I mean, I didn't see. I heard him call one player out.
I can read out the other guys he called out. I mean, he called more guys out.
Yeah, because at first he said 5. And you know what? Coaches do this a lot. They used to do it a lot. You're going to make an example of the guy that you can take it. He knows what you're doing. That's why you call that guy out. But once you start calling out, a handful of guys, they're going to start saying, well, okay, I came here to college, right? I was slow laterally before I got here. How are you going to help me be a better defender? How are you going to help me be a better defender? Not just say I'm slow laterally. So you know what? You're a lost cause. You can't defend. That's why you foul. Well, how about you move your feet as best you can, keep your hands out instead of reaching? How about that? How about you change your angle and cut them off at a different angle so they can't get by you?
He called out 3 other guys for being slow, another guy for being weak. And he talked about the guys he tried to recruit that wouldn't come to school there. And then he talked about, well, we came in late. We had to take who we could get. So these guys supposed to go play for him Saturday or whenever they play.
I mean, I was Sean Bradley. He's an underrated player, really skilled. But when he was asked, what is your biggest weakness? And he said, my strength. But, so you have a player on your team, Coach, that's weak. So are you in the weight room? Are you having him get on the weights, eat better? Maybe he is. I don't know. But, instead of doing that, work with them then of getting stronger. And there are ways to get quicker. You need to work on those. And, you know, you know, shoot, I mean, later in my
Right. You know,
I was
when I
I
heard
was
that,
if a coach told me I was slow, then I might as well give up then. I wouldn't have 12 years in NBA.
right. But Mo, you knew what you were doing. That's why you got 12 years in NBA. But Mo, I remember you talking about when you coach, you always said, I'm never going to embarrass a player if you don't embarrass me. It was something along those lines, was the
Yeah,
way you
eh,
operated.
I'm not gonna embarrass you if you don't embarrass me, and that meant, like, during the game, I don't want you making faces, throwing a towel, yelling or whatever. Then when I take you out of the game, I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm not gonna berate you as you go down to the bench. I'm not gonna get in your face screaming. Now, in the locker room at practice, I might do that, but not in front of people because that's our deal. And, you know, calling out players, in a press conference by name, that's tough. I don't know how those kids, and if I was those kids' parents, I would be saying, well, you called my kid out. Are you helping him in those areas? We need to
Yeah.
talk then.
No,
Maybe he is, but we need to talk. But I always did it, in the locker room, at practice, at a meeting. Now, I'm telling you, you talk to some of my former players, some of our video sessions were brutal, but no one else was in there. And it's video,
right,
it's on video, don't lie. Hey,
right.
Ricky, why you're driving to the basket, your teammate's wide open in the corner. Why don't you pass it to him? You don't like him? You
And,
know,
and Mo, were they slow when they were up 19 points?
evidently, but I guess the coaching scheme was better. I don't know what and I don't know, and I think probably what he was alluding to about players that wouldn't come is probably the NIL money that other schools have. And that's part of the business now. So guess what, coach? You know what you got to do? You got to raise more NIL money to get the players that are going to come play for that, I guess. And you can do that in the summer, but he knows what he's doing. He's a Hall of Famer coach,
He's a Hall of Fame coach.
but
Yeah, I do.
I had many film sessions that were brutal, and I had many meetings. I mean, I met with a team, the pro team I was coaching up in Canada, and we were struggling a little bit, and I had a team meeting instead of practice. Everybody in a round table, a big table, and I went one by one. What are you willing to do, Ricky, to sacrifice to help this team win?
Yeah.
Are you willing to put and like I had a point guard, great kid, man, good player too, but he was quiet, and that's not his personality. So he said, Coach, I need to be more vocal, but that's not just me. I said, exactly. That's what I'm saying. What are you willing to do to help this team win? Because we need you to be vocal. So are you willing to step outside your comfort zone and actually be vocal and hold players accountable? That's a sacrifice you need to make for the whole team. And he did. But those conversations are learning situations. But press conference is not a learning situation. It's like, if you did some stupid things in the game, Ricky, when I coached, I would probably wait a little bit till some other plays happen
Right.
before I took you out, because if you throw the ball into the stands and I take you right away, and everybody else in the stands knows, and now multiply that is when you're walking to the bench, I get in your face and I'm screaming at you, Ricky, why did you throw that pass? Don't you know better than that? Are you a terrible pass? That makes no sense. It doesn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Hey, Mo, we got to get out of here. We are up against it. We're at the witching hour. Want to thank the folks at Sports Fluent. We're here every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate everybody for tuning in from all over. We love it. For Paul Mokeski, I'm Rickey Hampton. We're out of here. See you next Monday. Peace. Have a great week.